On my memo tonight, I would like to speak about humanity and justice. I speak in respect to the strike at the Kenyatta National Hospital this week, where over 5,000 health workers downed their tools demanding salary arrears. An agreement that was reached in 2012 over their salaries was recently thrown out by the Salaries and Remuneration Commission. The announcement was a huge blow to the hospital workers who had waited for a long time to get better terms of service. And soon, the workers went on strike, paralyzing all services at the biggest referral hospital in the country. But despite their obviously genuine grievances, I believe that utu na haki lazima ziambatane. Unapoitisha haki yako kama mfanyakazi wa hospitali au wa afya, kuna mwingine ambaye huomba utu wako ili atibiwe. Because no one plans on when to be sick. In observing many industrial actions around the world, they have always been carried out with limited impact on innocent stakeholders. I'm reminded of the many strikes in the public transport sector in the UK that always designed to communicate grievances to the concerned authorities and not exactly to paralyze service provision. What I mean is an innocent passenger moving from one bus stop to another and relying on a public service bus should not be made to suffer, just as a way of an employee communicating to the employer, who is even worse when life is involved, as was the case at the Kenyatta National Hospital. Ordinarily, the KNH management should have set up a limited service emergency lane to provide medical assistance to innocent patients who end up there without the knowledge of the strike action. At a humane level, let us get one thing out of the way. Dancing in front of sick people is an act of cruelty, whichever way you look at it. That jig at the hospital's parking lot did not communicate an industrial grievance. It communicated jubilant heartlessness, a callous attitude towards human beings, and an attitude that should never be associated with persons whose job description is saving lives. As I've indicated, I believe the workers are genuine grievances, but right there, dancing in front of those desperate patients, they lost the argument. How else would things be seen from the perspective of this mother who was so desperate to get help for her sick relative that she resorted to crying, shouting, anything to get some help, which was unfortunately not forthcoming? And how else can it be seen by the family of one Evans Nyabuto who came to KNH looking for medical help? The late Evans was referred here because of vomiting blood, but on arriving at the hospital, there was no one to offer any assistance. Desperate friends and relatives watched helplessly as their kin languished in the vehicle waiting for help. He finally died 2.5 hours later. And what about another family whose relative had died in the hospital and was unable to collect the body as there was no one to process the paperwork nor release the body? Their cries and pleas fell on deaf ears. Their experiences painful and sad. Walokuwa wanagoma walisahau utu na athari zake ni kuhangaika kwa Wakenya ambao hawakuwa na makosa yoyote ila kujali maslahi ya wapendwa wao na kuwatafutia usaidizi kwa wale wenye uwezo wa kutoa huo msaada. Personally, I expected more from persons that handle lives. I expected more humanity. I expected more compassion. But sadly, none of those feelings that strengthen our humanities was present. The health workers failed to temper their quest for justice with mercy. I wonder what has become of us.